As police continue their inquiries into how 24 vulnerable people were held and apparently kept as slaves on a Bedfordshire travellers' site, Channel 4 News can reveal tonight just how widespread the practice is. This programme has uncovered dozens of other unrelated cases in counties across the country and has had first-hand accounts from some of the poor, dispossessed and usually homeless victims who've been preyed upon and abused. Jane Dodge has this report.
It may look like a small garden shed, but this was home for 4 men, their beds packed together like sardines. There may have been some home comforts, but the police believe at least 2 of the men living here were being held against their will. 24 people were rescued by police yesterday from the Green Acre caravan site in the village of Great Billington. Travellers have lived here for more than a decade, and many of the properties are well kept and in gated plots. A stark contrast, though, to the conditions those rescued were found in, according to the police.
We've had sheds, we've had caravans, decrepit caravans, where some people have been kept in filthy conditions, including one that's been rescued with faeces all over him, where he's had to stay in faeces and urine within that environment.
But allegations of slavery have been dismissed by those travellers living here.
They can come and go as much as they want. They can go into the town.
So you think that the police suggesting that these men had been kept against their will, that they hadn't been fed, they didn't have running water, that they were, some of them malnourished?
Oh, dismal. I don't sound real good. But what's that? That's a tap there. They've got a toilet at the back of the other side of the yard. You know what I mean?
So was there really coercion? This afternoon, the police admitted 9 of those rescued have now returned to the site, refusing to cooperate with the investigation.
There have been people who have felt they have to go back. They've gone back to their belongings. They've gone back to routes that have been put down over some time. And no matter how misguided or difficult or hard to understand that has been for us, it's something that we have to work with and understand and continue to support them going on for the future now.
The discovery of vulnerable men allegedly held against their wishes, starved and forced to work is something most of us thought had been consigned to the 19th century. But this isn't a one-off. Already this year there have been several other raids at traveller sites across the country. In March, 20 people were rescued from a site in Staverton in Gloucestershire. 8 people were also rescued from a site in Enderby in Leicestershire and 7 from a site in Pleasley in Derbyshire. Then in June, a large group of men were also rescued from a site in Hampshire. Channel 4 News has spoken exclusively to one man who says he was held captive by travellers for 10 months. Graham Clark was homeless with a drink problem when he was approached in Derby. He was offered £40 a day for manual labour. He says he was then taken to several travellers' sites before managing to escape.
I was sitting there looking lonely and bored, and some travellers pulled up in a work van, and I felt on a low ebb, and they asked me if I was looking for work, and they'd give me £40 a day and a caravan to work in. The next morning I was working from about 7 o'clock in the morning until about 6 o'clock every evening, doing jobs that I'd never even done before. I was on a roof with no safety equipment or anything, but I was hungry most of the time. They gave me enough food just to be able to, so I could have enough strength and stamina to be able to to work.
And did you have toilet facilities? Or?
No. I wasn't allowed to use their toilet facilities. It was strictly for them. I had to go into a bush or something, and sometimes even wipe myself with leaves and everything.
And what did that make you feel like?
Degraded me totally.
Graham now lives at a hostel in Derby. The manager says such cases are increasingly common.
It's not surprising. I mean, it's a shame, really. It would be nice if it was surprising, and we think, isn't it awful that happens? But as I say, we have had cases before. We've had a case recently. We've had cases a couple of years ago where the same thing has happened to people, so we know that does go on.
Bedfordshire police say complaints about mistreatment at this site date back to 2008. But it's only now, with a change in the law, that they've been able to act. The remaining men are now being offered medical and psychological help, including advice from experts dealing with the victims of torture. Jane Dodge, Channel 4 News in Bedfordshire.